I'm Manouk Akopyan. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you to our partners, personal injury attorney Nelson Gevorkyan.
After 3 years of layoff, just do what I love to do, which is the beautiful sport of boxing. Spread my skills and my talent to the beautiful fans here in Sydney, Australia. And, it's just love when you've been two-time champion of the world, but when you travel the world and you see that world recognition, boxing is really just one of those beautiful sports like soccer, like golf. You guys have so much respect for rugby, but in the U.S., we don't pay attention to rugby. We don't pay attention to cricket. You guys don't pay attention to American football, maybe a little bit of basketball. I see people wearing some shirts, here and there. But at the end of the day, there's only a few sports that really get you that world recognition. And I've done that in the sport of boxing, and it's just beautiful to be here, walk in the streets, get spotted by the real fight fans, take a few photos as we lead up to this beautiful comeback come March 12th.
Keith, you spent about 5 years with relative inactivity. And do you think you can run it back at 36 years old?
I mean, that's what I'm here to do, man. Luckily, boxing hasn't changed, right? What's the definition of boxing? What's the definition of boxing?
Hit and don't be hit.
There we go. So he knows. Definition of boxing is hit and don't get hit. After 5 years, that philosophy has not changed. So that's what I'm geared up to do. Box hard, box smart, stick to the fundamentals, and showcase my skills and my talent at the questionable age that you be bringing up, a few other people want to bring up, at that beautiful age of 36. My mama still tells me I look good. My wife tells me I look good. And come March 12th, I'm pretty sure I'm going to perform pretty good.
How do you think that skill set matches up against Brock Jarvis?
I've just been in the world with the best of the best, from the amateurs to the pros. I was almost the Olympian for the China Games in '08. I lost in the USA Olympic trials to Demetrius Andrade in the finals, who came out to be a world champion. I came out to be a two-time world champion. I grew up with the likes of Sean Porter, Terrence Crawford, all the champions that you know about. Deontay Wilder was a part of my Olympic year. So I'm just really proud of the journey that I've had from a young, inspiring amateur to a truly elite professional fighter. And all my peers, even going back to my amateur days with Danny Jacobs and all those great fighters in DC, Gary Russell Jr. So at the end of the day, I just come from a long lineage of great fighters from a great generation, and I'm just going to continue to represent my generation the best I can each and every time that I step into the ring.
What have you seen of Brock Jarvis, and what do you make of him?
It's boxing, so obviously he's a tough guy, move forward fighter, a little bit more of a brawler than a boxer, likes to exchange on the inside, likes to dig to the body, double up to the body, get on the inside, sneak in some uppercuts. Reminds me a little bit of a Sean Porter, if I'm going to compare to who I've already been in the ring with. Gets in your chest, move forward, press. So I know he trains hard, and I know he fights hard, and this should be a good fight coming up.
You compared him to Sean Porter as one of your past opponents. Does he have anyone in his record that compares to you?
He has nobody in his record that compares to anybody that I've ever fought, and that's his downside. His downside is the lack of experience when it comes to fighting outside of Australia, right? Luckily, growing up in America, even when I was coming up on HBO before I was world champion, I fought former world champions like John Zavik, right? And who's a Czech fighter. So I've fought the Mexicans from Mexico, Mexican Americans, other Latino fighters, and European fighters, European champions. And like I said, from the amateurs to the pros, I've had exposure to a plethora of world-class experienced fighters. And when you bring up Brock's record, anybody can look it up on BoxRec. He's just fighting a lot of people who don't have that world-class recognition. There's a lot of tough guys in boxing. Anybody on any given day can train hard and bring forth a tough fight, with their hands and their heart, their determination. And Brock has battled some of those tough Latin fighter they brought him, and a tough Filipino fighter that they brought him, but nobody who is really like Brock, 22-0, anything. He hasn't fought in people with, 18 knockouts and different things of that nature. So it's one thing when you're a dog. It's another thing when you meet another dog and you go toe to toe, man to man. So I believe I definitely have the experience advantage when it comes to being in the ring with world-class, very tough fighters. It's up to Brock to prove to me what pedigree he's bringing into the ring. I know what pedigree I belong on.
Keith, at 36 years old, right now you're having a lot of success outside of the ring, commentator and other things. What is your drive and your desire to come back into the ring?
Why am I still
Brock?
here? Why am I still here? So the thing is, there's two things that move human beings in life. Anybody who has a psychology major or a psychology minor will know these facets that I'm about to bring up. Human beings work out of two modalities in life: fear and passion or love. So it's either love or fear that moves human beings. So why is Keith Thurman standing here today, flying to Australia to fight Brock Jarvis? It has to be one of these two. Either I fear not being in the spotlight. Keith Thurman can't live without some recognition in life, name, fame. Or I'm here because of the love of the sport. The love that I had where nobody asked me to box. Nobody told me to box. I was just a 7-year-old boy who saw an exhibition, and I was so young, I thought it was karate without kicking. And I said, sign me up. Because in the early 90s, late 90s, I started boxing approximately 97. And at those times, Kung Fu movies were popular. In the US, we had Jean-Claude Van Damme, Steven Seagal, Jackie Chan, classic Bruce Lee movies. And my father was a martial artist as young as I was 4 years old. So that planted the seed of getting into martial arts. When I look back at it, I'm so happy that my calling became boxing and not karate, not taekwondo, where they don't strike in the face. I've learned how to protect myself at all times. Number one rule of boxing, protect yourself at all times. And I've been in tough fights ever since an early age. Keith Thurman wasn't the greatest at 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. I got beat up. Believe it or not, I got beat up. I got black eyes. I cried a few times walking out of the ring, But it was my determination to not give up. And it's the love and the passion for the sport, that inner child. You still eat ice cream? You don't eat ice cream? You still eat ice cream? Still eat ice cream, Most of us, when we still eat ice cream, it's because there's something about the nostalgia, that inner child, that satisfaction, that memory. And for me, I'm here because I love my memories of boxing. I love the story of Keith one-time Thurman. 30 wins, 1 loss, 22 knockouts, WBA, WBC, unified champion of the world. That's a great story. But is that all the story is? Is there more? I'm here to find out. I want to do more in the sport. I want to add more to that beautiful story. I don't feel like I'm done. And let's just see how long we can milk this cow till we have to walk away. Floyd Mayweather fought till he was 40. Pacquiao fought till he was 40. They continue to compete in some exhibition matches, but on the world-class stage of active elite fighters, they both pretty much ended their career at 40 years old. I think that's the new plateau for athletes. A lot are retiring in their 30s. My stablemate Sean Porter already stepped down. There's rumors that Crawford is ready to maybe step out after this Canelo fight. So it's really up to the individual athlete, but I've been through a lot. Bone spurs, hand surgery, now bicep surgery, but I believe that I have more to give and more to tell, and that's what I'm here doing here in Australia against Brock Jarvis, to continue that story.
I feel like you need a knockout against Brock Jarvis to propel you into that Tim Tszyu
Don't
fight.
need a knockout, but today everybody has about a 5-second attention span. So if I can get that, knockout that becomes a little real on TikTok, Instagram, whatever, obviously those moments in all of sports, whether it's football, baseball, basketball, any little snippet that just has that wow factor is always going to get people talking. We're in the generation where hype is what matters. Where's the hype? Everyone's looking eyes. We had a big, enormous event with Kendrick out there at the Super Bowl, and it was an amazing event, amazing performance, and then the hype around all the symbology and everything pops up in my feed. After I rewatched it, now I get all these things back in my feed. So if I want to have eyes on me and I want to just pop up in everybody's feed, I think a terrific knockout will be what does that. But obviously, I'm here to do my best, box hard, box smart, and be victorious on whatever level that means.
TikTok knockout.
TikTok knockout, baby. Let's go.
You doing good? Yeah.